The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office announced that Hornets small forward Miles Bridges will be arraigned on felony charges for domestic assault and child abuse. Bridges was released on a $130,000 bond, and the records do not specify the reasons for the child abuse charge. A spokesman for the league said that the NBA was investigating the allegations. Bridges, who is 24, is set to be a restricted free agent, with the arrest coming a day before contract negotiations begin. The restriction allows the Hornets to match any deal offer made for Bridges, and despite the arrest, reports indicate that a match deal of $173 million is still expected to keep the rising star in Charlotte. A peer-reviewed study released by the New York Times on domestic violence in the NFL found that players who are arrested in these cases generally do not suffer major career consequences. The study analyzed the career trajectory of players charged of violent crimes against women and compared them to the careers of similar players who were not charged, and found that there was little to no effect on their careers. The study even pointed out that it wasn't just star players whose careers remained unscathed. Even average or below average players were able to avoid punishment and damage to their NFL careers. The report concluded that the top 75% of NFL players did not experience significant consequences for domestic violence arrests. It will be interesting to see how this dynamic plays out in the Deshaun Watson case. Highly publicized cases in the past, like the Ray Rice case, have had lasting impacts, with the NFL's mishandling of the Ray Rice incident eventually leading to the changes implemented in the NFL's personal conduct policy. After the Texans faced multiple lawsuits for enabling Deshaun Watson's predatory behavior, the ball is once again in the NFL's court to dole out punishment for player misconduct.
Let's turn our attention to the ESPY Awards, where Steph Curry had the honor of being the second NBA player to ever host these awards. Basking in the glory of winning a championship, Curry threw shade on some of his opponents, such as LeBron James, the Lakers, and even the Boston Celtics. The night had many winners, with Steph Curry winning Best NBA Player, Klay Thompson winning Comeback Player of the Year, Shohei Ohtani winning Best MLB Player and Best Athlete, and Aaron Rodgers winning Best NFL Player. However, what was even more meaningful was when Curry stood alongside WNBA players Ogwumike and Skylar Diggins-Smith to advocate for the release of WNBA superstar Brittney Griner. It's been 153 nights now that BG has been wrongfully detained thousands of miles away from home. Away from her family, away from her friends, away from her team, Diggins-Smith said. Griner was detained in Russia almost 5 months ago for the possession of a vape cartridge containing cannabis. Curry added, "But as we hope for the best, we urge the entire global sports community to continue to stay energized on her behalf." In a night where all the best athletes in the world gather for these prestigious awards, it is very inspiring to see athletes come together for a common cause.
A report released on Wednesday says that the NCAA has made progress on improving gender equality in D1 basketball. The report says that the NCAA adequately addresses 9 out of 23 recommendations for improving the experiences for women's basketball players. One of the biggest changes included the branding and licensing of March Madness for both the men and women's tournaments. This year, it was called the 2022 NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament. Next year will be the 2023 March Madness Women's Tournament, which will also include the First Four event to increase publicity. But the NCAA rejected the idea of holding both Final Fours in the same city. These changes have been long overdue. The Kaplan report stated that the NCAA failed to uphold its commitment to gender equity by neglecting the women's tournament and favoring their cash cow, March Madness, over everything else. Senior Baylor forward Sedona Prince made waves this season on TikTok and other platforms by exposing the disparity between the resource allocated for the men and women's tournaments, which prompted an apology from the NCAA. It's good to see the NCAA address these issues, but we have to remember that the NCAA rarely makes decisions for the betterment of their players without external pressure. Now to the association, where all eyes are on the possible trade acquisition of Kevin Durant. An article written this week by ESPN's Zach Lowe explored how the Megadeals are becoming the new trend in the NBA. With Rudy Gobert commanding 5 first-rounders from the T-Wolves and DeJounte Murray going to the Hawks for 3 first-round picks, the economy of the trade market is shifting drastically, making a mega deal for Durant more difficult than anticipated. After Boston sent an aging KG and Paul Pierce to the Brooklyn Nets for 3 first-round picks in 2013, which was widely considered one of the worst trades in NBA history. Many executives vowed to never trade 3 first-round picks in one deal. But recently, a high-level NBA executive said that planning for the future is a thing of the past. With the Hawks and Timberwolves under tremendous pressure to win now, and the Jazz and Spurs tanking for Victor Wembanyama, it's clear that teams are willing to take a significant risk to try to increase their chances to win right away. Shorter player contracts and rising player empowerment also contributes to the increased rise of Megadeals, as your team's foundational star can be one bad season away from demanding a trade, which leads to more future-for-present type deals. It's a copycat league, and there will always be a team willing to overpay for a big star with draft picks. Brooklyn was able to get back 2 first-round picks when they traded Harden for Simmons. Revamped lottery odds and play-in tournament tilt the equation towards winning, making tanking less of a guarantee for a top 3 pick, but it's still an element that is very much at play, and every team will be studying how these mega deals end up in 5 years. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to check out my channel for more sports content.